Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Yesterday was a wow. I didn't see it coming. Really flew in the face of interest rates going up, dollar going up, and there was a void above, but I thought it needed to go down to the prior swing low there, which would have been a no-brainer place to entry. But the S&Ps, as you can see, nice big green bar up, middle of the day, things took off to the upside, and it was kind of like no looking back at that point. So where are they now? They're at 400, right? Scrolling this up there, coming up to the top of the recent trading range, going to gap up to the top of the recent trading range. And after that run, this is what we would refer to as a novice gap. Now, bit of a, from what point of view is it a novice gap, which is really an interesting thing. First of all, this isn't a downtrend. It is at the 200. Let's assume this low here. And I guess we have to because it's a wide range bar. A gap reversal is going to be a significant low. So gapping up from here, hard to call it a pro gap because it's not in an uptrend, but on a certain level, it is like a pro gap since it's been hanging here for several days and we got this wide range bar. And the wide range bar makes that low like should be like a concrete wall, a wall of steel to get through that. So the other side of the thought is if it goes through that, it's going to be a big problem. So yesterday, interest rates were gapping higher, the dollar was gapping higher, markets were gapping lower, and all of that was bearish. There was this minor void, and we'll be back to finish the thought on the gap. So from an intraday point of view, right, this running up like it has straight up, and then it gaps up into resistance, novice gap. It's gapping up from here after a run into a significant resistance area from an intraday trading point of view. Novice gap. There should be sellers up there. And I got an alert up at the top here, but if it opens there and it runs up into that area, well, going to meet sellers. Look to the left. Now, one of the things, there was some Fed officials talking yesterday. Dan typed to me that he got the market moving, and maybe so. I don't know. I don't know what he said. I know Alex also posted something in the chat about that. But one of the things that caught my attention, it has caught my attention because it's been there for a while, is to look. See if I can post this up here. Is this open interest in SPX options? And this has been high for a while. And so you can see the calls and the puts have a big open interest. These are expiring in 14 days. And so from a technical point of view, not necessarily who opened up their mouth during the day, which obviously, this market is very news driven. This maybe is acting as a rubber band, so to speak. It gets too far away. And because of the potential move to unwinding these positions, it gets pulled back. Now, usually on an option expiration, you hear about pinning to a certain strike because there's a large open interest there. And this has come down a little bit over the last, I guess, couple of weeks or so, but it's still significant compared to, this is sorted by the highest open interest. And you can see, down there, 3,900 is like half of what this is. And, half, give or take half on the call side. So I'm looking for a technical reason. And so thinking, well, while things look like they were going to go down yesterday because of interest rates and the dollar, this may have just acted like, okay, you're getting too far away here. And this is going to create moves to accelerate, and it just dragged it back. So something, keep an eye on it, share it. right now we've got this wide range bar, and we go back to our factory work, and which says, hey, whatever corrective price action it may be now, I'd like you to open, the closes to stay in that upper half of that bar. So while there's no support here, you can see there's no support underneath here. If as bullish as this reversal is, and if it dips down, we want to see buyers step up and push it back above that halfway point. So with a wide range bar, most of the time, what we're going to look for is a narrow range bar, a consolidation day, which would make sense if it could just go sideways and chop around here. That would be bullish going into next week. That pattern would be one in which would be supportive of this day. So Savaris on YouTube there is taking to me, he's betting on a bearish 180, meaning today it gives it all back and we get a big red bar. Who knows? This is a schizo market, and look, anytime you've got a wide range bar, a range expansion bar like that, if it's negated, big red, that's going to be nasty. Same way over here, you see this big nasty red bar, and this green bar retraced on that day almost all the way into it, and probably if the market hadn't closed, it would have went deeper. So it did it on the next day. So a rule of thumb is if you've got a range expansion bar, in this case bullish, and it gets negated, it's going to continue in the direction of that, in this case, a bearish 180. So it's Friday. I kind of lean on that's not going to happen. Why should it give it all back? Well, there is some numbers coming out at 10 o'clock. So if they were atrocious, I suppose maybe that could happen. So, just be aware of that. But then you're going into next week, and the chair Fed is supposed to be speaking. There's more economic reports and so on and so on. So, going into today, we'll just see if it can create some support and form a pattern in alignment with yesterday's bullish price action or not. All right. So you see where they're at. They're at 400. That tells us where SPX is. You can see the cursor on the daily chart. It's gapping up. So the next thing to look at would be, in my mind, well, if there is premium down below the wide range bar, that would be attractive. And I'm going to look. So we'd want to be below 39.30, and that would be below the 200-day moving average and 39.50. And I showed you the open interest there. And we just go to the options and scroll to where maybe there's, looking at 39.45 is 85 cents by 90. Now 39.40 is 65 by 75. You'd have to go pretty wide. So they're at least below 39.50. So that's a consideration. And up above, let me get to SPX here. We know SPX is opening up around that huge open interest level. So it could get, I would assume, up to the top of this resistance. So we want to be on the other side of that. And just based on yesterday's move, as this got far away, and let's just go with that thought of that open interest, pulled it back toward that level. And if it moves up above that resistance, it's likely to start getting pulled back for the open interest point of view, as well as running from the bottom of the base up to the top of the base. So can we get above 40.40 maybe? As things are moving up? Absolutely. And we can go 40. Interesting how it goes from the next strike, 40.50 is 90 by $1. So that's good. Right. Then you go to 40.55 and it drops significantly to 60 by 70. But anyway, 40.50, you can see is up here and it comes up to this next level. So I like that. Like that. So it would, having to get, it's gapping here, and then it would have to travel up here to your strike. I'm going to say that's a no-brainer. No-brainer. It's not getting there today. All right. All right. Other markets that might give us some guidance. What time is it? Interesting that Bitcoin's down as much as it is, because there has been that correlation between Bitcoins and the broader markets, much greater than a while ago. But this news on this, I don't know what that stock, what it's a kind of brokerage firm or whatever it is. They're talking about it got decimated yesterday. So, Bitcoin's got its own problems, and that dropping down. So that's I'm curious how much of an effect that'll have on the markets or not. And yeah, bullish, right? We got so many green days yesterday on patterns that look like they were going to go lower, and they didn't. Right? Some were maybe not as bearish as others, but there were some that, I viewed as the high probability setups in the morning, and then by 11 o'clock or so, they were questionable, and then in the latter part of the day, they were like, that ain't happening. So all these turnarounds, and we'll see what happens with their, the futures here into all these pivots, a big red area. They're not going to go through that with ease. That's the assumption. The Russell, I said yesterday, that was like the better looking of all of them. And, that recovered, first thing in the morning, it was like, okay, going to go down. And then it ripped right back up again. And this is what we call bullish price action over here, where, it comes up into that supply area right here, and it jiggles sideways there. And there, right, there's your range expansion bullish 180. As it's dealing with this, and it looks like it's going to go down, and it flips right back up again. So in the moment, this was in an uptrend, but it did look like it was going to go down, wide range bar down into the pivot, buyers step up and drive it right back up again. And so that's the opposite of what we were talking about on the daily chart, of maybe negating yesterday's green bar. Right. So this is up into resistance as well. It's run up. There's going to be sellers up there. Does it go sideways? Does it turn into a topping tail bar? All of that, right? We have to just watch and see how it unfolds. Now, this thing survived, right? Remember, this thing still has this big, nasty green bar. It's coming into resistance. How can it retrace deeply into that red bar? I said red bar there. And then obviously, Salesforce was a big influence. And then some of the other stocks, some things that are just awful looking. Who wants to short them when the market's going up? So even really questionable things, short-term traders go and, they buy it for short-term trades. And then, you could have a green day that eventually goes nowhere. And that is a tell as to things that are, bearish from a long-term point of view. And so far, this is. We'll see what happens with the Dow. Transports, big turnaround day. And they didn't get to support. And that's another positive. 10-year, right now it's coming down here. So it didn't get up to that 4.2. At the moment, it's being rejected. And it's like as if the equity markets knew that was going to happen yesterday. But we'll see if that follows through. 13-week doing nothing up there. And what else? Well, silver, right, with the dollar giving back today. I mean, this is still in development mode. This could be a buy next week. We'll see if the dollar continues to weaken, but this could be the first green week on this move lower here. But it's into the support. Some kind of retest pattern would be attractive next week for silver. Gold leading the way up. Nice reversal here. So this may be a buy. And on a pullback, since it's at resistance, so what we will be looking for is, we'll see where the dollar is right here, right? Kind of gapping down, also over here, down a little bit. So is this a retest? Is going to be a sell setup here? So silver and gold on a short-term basis could be bullish moves next week. We'll see how that plays out. And we want to see if the dollar keeps coming down, they'll turn around. And crude oil, still working its way, as to whether this head and shoulders top is going to be negated, or, we'll see what happens the next few days, because the weekly chart is just a big sideways mess of red and green bars. So short view here, markets have run up. That bullish day yesterday. They're into a significant resistance area to deal with today. And if they can hold up there, that'll be in alignment with what happened yesterday. All yours, Dan.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Thanks, Robert. All right, so yeah, Greg gave you the bias there. It's going to be difficult here, gapping up from an end of day rally. Well, my bias is looking for buys on pullbacks. I posted a couple longs last night when I got back and had my internet restored. So a lot of bullish setups here for put spreads also. This NOW, we did a call spread yesterday. We did it in the morning, down here, negated it. So I'm looking to sell a put spread to roll to leg into a condor. And then, we'll move stop. I said 30-minute high for the call side. There's a couple earnings stocks here. Costco gapping down under a red bar. And I don't know. We'll need to come back to some of these. CHPT gapping at $10. That's an ugly gap. That looks, call spread would be great if there's any juice. Bitcoin. Yeah, yesterday I was talking about this SI Silvergate. It just looks like it's on a death trend now. I gave a going concern discussion, and I was saying, in terms of trading news events, stay away from accounting irregularities. Going concern exception is even worse if it comes from your CPA firm. So yeah, that drug it down a bit. MPC we have posted as a 1, 2, 3. It was up and then down. I don't know what just happened there, but I actually like that better, that it's not gapping up. Yeah, see, look at something happened with oil. I have no idea what, but that's what caused that drop in MPC, of course. DXCM, that's a big bar. I don't know what to do with it now, Thomas. Talking about big bars, look at this Twilio yesterday morning. Remember I said I was keeping it on my list to look for some type of retest pattern? and boom. Wow. That came out of the gate flying. VLO. Yeah, that's a 1, 2, 3. But Thomas, when we do I call it the optometrist A/B test. We looked at these yesterday when I went through all the 1, 2, 3s on TC 2000, which is where I found a number of these things, and compare VLO, which has not taken out this prior high, with MPC. So MPC optometrist, I like better. They both are put spread candidates as long as they stay in the upper third of the WRB. Let's see. Yeah, interesting point, Lawrence. Let's continue with these earnings things. HIB gapping down 68 area. There's a lot of support over here. Not interested in shorting it, but a definite call spread if there's any juice. Nordstrom here been beat up. Wow, that was kind of like a monster measured move down. I set an alarm at 1970. If it can take out yesterday's high, then it's a no-brainer put spread. Oh, I gave Microsoft last night as a put spread. A nice 180 turn here, turning into this bottoming tail weekly buy setup. I gave it a little harder entry over this. So Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, over Monday's high. But that's a nice turn at the 50. Yeah, Netflix, I noticed relative weakness. I had set an alarm at 312 for that very reason, Thomas, as a short idea. Big void over here. We're talking about breakouts, buying breakouts and breakout failures. Look at these breakout failures there, and then you got a sell setup. That would have been a home run entry on a short on February 16. I remember Boeing. Look at this. Boeing had a nasty breakout failure right there. Visco had earnings. Looks lower. I don't know. We'll come back to it, but call spread candidate. Oh, a Toro here I posted as a long. It had earnings also. And it's showing my minder showing down 14 cents, which is good because then it has to trigger. I gave this as a trigger over this 15-minute pivot, 1583. I don't even, no need for it to get over the day's high, in my opinion. Look at the weekly. Look at the monthly. That is a beautiful example of multiple time frame alignment. Daily, weekly, monthly look fantastic. So, earnings can wiggle around, particularly if they have an earnings call. JAS 3, I'm long now via diagonal. Yeah, JAS, yeah, JAS on YouTube's talking about NOW trade. Yeah, we need an adjustment strategy now based on the bullish close yesterday. So that's why starting out with a condor just to get in some more premium, and maybe within the first 30 minutes, we might do another adjustment. Riot, I don't know. It wasn't earnings, but they had some type of news. I forget. I set an alarm at 6:40. If it can take out Wednesday's high, then you got an inverse head and shoulders. It shouldn't take it out, particularly with Bitcoin getting whacked the way it did. Veru, there was some news, some bad news about their COVID drug thing being rejected. So I looked at Myrna also. Hey, do y'all remember this gap down day? I think that was earnings. And I talked about this being a long-term top. And we had a small little discussion about, fundamentals. And look at this crazy monthly chart, COVID stock. So now we had a sell set up on the monthly. I mean, I could see this thing going back down to 50, $80 on the monthly. Why not? XLI. It's a trading range. It's a trading range mess, and it's a end of day rally. There's nothing to do with that, in my opinion. Now, Bumble's doing a secondary offering. Bearish gap down. This would be a no-brainer call spread. Avgo, gapping up on earnings. It's getting a little too extended now. I saw it earlier at 608, and I posted in Telegram that it's a put spread idea. This actually would have been a good candidate to I wasn't around yesterday afternoon, but I looked at the premiums. We could have sold the 540s yesterday. We're juicy. Yeah, Meta. I sent in Telegram a long watch. You got a nice look. Look at that beautiful weekly monster breakout, wide range ending, controlled buy setup, weekly chart. So it's gapping up too much now for me. So you need pullbacks. I just had JWN alarm go off here. So if you folks in the green room who trade options, if you can help me today, since I'm on my little laptop here, but if there's any juice on JWN, I like that. For a put spread, 30-minute high, possible directional. There's Bumble AI. Remember, this is the new AI stock that's been in vogue. It had earnings. That's a bullish gap up. Maybe 30-minute high, long. Put spread yesterday's low if there's any juice. So if anyone wants to help me. Dell gap into the bottom of the range. 30-minute high, possible put spread if there's juice. ESTC 63, another bullish gap to resistance, but you got a buy set up weekly. That's a nice bottom. 1580 HPE, Hewlett Packard put spread idea. Marvel, ooh, that's an ugly gap. Gap in here to the 50 MA. You got a buy set up on the weekly, but it's damaged. That gap put some damage on that chart. This thing's too extended now. IoT, I personally would be selling strength on that gap up. IRTC, I had an alarm. FMX was on our list yesterday. Here, IRTC, this is bullish consolidation. So if somebody wants to help me watch that, that looks great. FMX alarm, but then got whacked. CTRA. Yeah, I like that. I like that yesterday's high, Thomas. I'll put it on the list. That would be a fantastic 1, 2, 3. I'm going to set an alarm at 2590. Texas up alarm. That thing's been a beautiful. Let's sell half of Texas. I don't even care what it looks like with the market extended. Here, Greg, you tell me, half or all? I say half. That's an end of day base. So I just answered my own question. But just sell half into the gap up where we've been in this 5 straight days. This has been a easy management. I wish they were all this easy. 4517. Bravo Charlie up alarm. All right, so having a busy morning here. Hey, Bravo Charlie. Bravo Charlie. All right, so you can buy the high Bravo Charlie over 89 bucks. Citra up alarm, Thomas. Octa, I'm looking. Man, my alarms. MPC came back. Yeah, Octa was on my list from yesterday. It's just with the market coming in, I'm not rushing into longs, but it looks good. MPC, I had my alarm early, but the entry is yesterday's high. Or wait, actually, I think I said closing price or something. Let me look. 130.40 MPC. Yeah, okay, it is over yesterday's high. Let me reset the alarm. MPC 130.41 is the entry. All right, Avgo, I had as a put spread idea. Gap's too big now, shoot. All right, JWN. Let's see if there's any juice at 19 for next week. Netflix low alarm, so there's a relative weakness one. Wow, it's spreading.